I'm going to walk you through 5 proven research-backed ways to stop gambling. Before we dive in, you have to recognize that you are not alone. In the US, about 2 to 3% of adults have a serious gambling problem. That's millions of people. Another 5 to 8 million struggle with milder forms. So if gambling has taken over more of your life than you could have expected, then it's not that you're weak, you're not stupid, and you're definitely not the only one. Gambling addiction usually doesn't start off as an addiction. It starts off as entertainment, a few sports bets, a few nights at the casino, something casual, something social. And then over time, it stops being about having fun and starts being about chasing a feeling. It stops being a choice and becomes a compulsive behavior. If you or someone you know is at that point and you want to make a change, there are proven research-backed ways to do so. And here are a few of the most effective ones. The first thing is to remove access to gambling. The first step here is really simple. Just make it much harder to actually do it. Addiction thrives on impulse and convenience. If betting is just one click away or a walk down the road, then your brain will act before your logic can kick in. So some steps to help you do this could be, self-excluding from casinos or signing up to self-ban, using apps as well, blocking gambling websites and deleting any of the betting apps that are on your phone now. It might also be something like giving some financial control over to someone you trust. We'll talk about that more later. But also you could set spending limits on yourself as well. When there's more friction, the urge that you feel can pass without you having to take action on it. The second thing is that you can join a support group or a community of some sort. This is one of the strongest predictors of recovery, whether or not you have social support. Programs like Gamblers Anonymous, forms of group therapy, peer recovery groups, all of these things are actually backed by decades of research, and they actually work because addiction isolates you. And even for people that might be around you, they won't even see it because it's something that is otherwise invisible unless you're talking to people about it. Gambling isolates you, and getting support reconnects you. When you start to talk to people who have been through the same issues that you're dealing with, you start to realize something really important. And that's that there's nothing uniquely wrong with you. You're dealing with a very common human problem. And that can help to remove the shame, which is one of the biggest drivers of isolation and even further addiction. The third thing is to think about treating the underlying emotional triggers. For a lot of people, gambling isn't even the real problem. It's the solution that they found to another problem. People have triggers like stress, loneliness, depression, anxiety, some sort of a financial pressure is a big thing right now, or boredom. And a lot of people with gambling disorders also struggle with other mental health issues. And this is why things like cognitive behavioral therapy is also something that can be very effective as a treatment. Cognitive behavioral therapy can help you to identify the thoughts that actually lead to gambling in the first place, and to help you to break the chasing losses mindset. It might even allow you to find ways to replace gambling with healthier coping mechanisms. Because if you remove the gambling, but still have some deep emotional pain, or you're struggling with something else, then the addiction can return in other ways, or in ways that might also be detrimental to you and living a better life. The fourth thing is to create financial barriers and accountability. So addiction thrives on secrecy and easy access to money. So one of the most effective strategies is to just change how your finances work. And this can include giving a trusted person control over your accounts, using prepaid cards instead of credit. It could be automating your bill payments, closing out your betting accounts, or freezing your credit cards. When you remove easy access to money, you remove the fuel that feeds the addiction. Now, the fifth thing is to replace gambling with a new source of reward. It's very hard to just remove an addiction. It's much easier to replace it because gambling provides three powerful rewards. It gives you excitement, escape, and hope. And if you don't replace those feelings, your brain will be craving to gamble. And so healthier replacements can include things like exercise, one of my favorites, competitive sports or games, skill-based hobbies, structured investing, or even some business projects. Other creative outlets can also be really helpful. The goal is to find something that gives you progress, that feels like a challenge, where you can have achievements and build healthy forms of dopamine release. So the first thing is to remove access to gambling. The second is to join a support group or find community. The third is to treat any underlying emotional triggers that you may have. The fourth is to create financial barriers and accountability. And the fifth is to replace gambling with a new source of reward. So the most important thing to think about when it comes to quitting is that it's very rarely just a single decision. It's a process, and there may be relapses, there may be setbacks, but recovery isn't about perfection, it's about direction. Every step that you take away from gambling improves your finances, it improves your mental health, it improves your relationships, and your overall future. Now, this is a big problem that I care about deeply. So I've actually been working on something that we're calling No Dice, which is an app that's actually designed to help you track, understand, and take control of your gambling habits. If this video resonated with you, or you know anyone who might benefit from this, we're giving away 500 free memberships to the first people who join the waitlist. You can click the link in the description to join that waitlist, or you can share this with someone who you think might benefit. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, let me know. And until next time, peace.